I almost quit this whole thing 3 weeks ago. I swear I say that a lot lately, but it's true, and it really helps me to determine what my next episode should be about. When I say I almost quit, not only because I had like a rough day, but I mean like laying on my bed talking to the ceiling saying, "Oh my God, I am so freaking done." That kind of quit. So I just want to go back to my old life. I'll quit. I'm quitting. That's it. How many of you been out there? Yes, of course. So when I say I almost quit, it's not really just about having a bad day. I mean, really just seriously like saddened about it. So here's the embarrassing part. I read people for 35 years and patterns and faces and all the things nobody wanted me to ever see. I'm supposed to be the one who knows. And there I was negotiating with my own intuition, like it was a used car salesman convincing me that quitting is the best car he's got on the lot. If you've ever stood at the edge of something you wanted so badly, it scared you, like a career, a person, the balance in your checkbook 4 days before the rent is due, and you finally took the leap, and then a few months into it, you thought, holy crap, what did I do? This one's for you. Because here's what nobody's telling you. Taking the risk, that's the easy part. Staying and acting on it? Huh. Getting back up after the ninth time, the 19th time, the 99th time, and it doesn't work. That's the hard part. That's the part that actually builds everything. No risk, no reward. Fine. But nobody warns you the reward is sitting on the other side of about 200 small failures you have to walk through to get to it. And I've wanted to quit hundreds of times, hundreds, and I'm still here. And let me tell you how. So let's get honest about what we're actually doing here. When we say we're afraid to take a risk, most of the time we're not. Give somebody enough frustration, enough wine, enough Sunday night dread, and they'll quit their job. They'll send the text, they'll book the thing, they leap. The leap is the adrenaline. The leap is easy. What we're actually afraid of is, if we're honest, is what comes after. The part where you have to keep choosing it on the days it doesn't work, when the launch flops, when he doesn't text back, when the bank account dips below zero, and somebody at Thanksgiving asks you, "How's that little business of yours going?" God, don't you just want to spit nails over that? Well, I'll tell you, that just reminds me of a story. I haven't thought about this in a million years, but right out of college, I moved to New York. Fresh out of art school, graphics and fashion illustration was my whole world. And I was hungry. I'd take any job in the field just to build the experience. So a gig came up. It was costume illustrations for a Broadway show that they were trying to pitch. And it was a big 1920s type of revival. And honestly, I can't even remember which one. Something in me might say it was like Great Gatsby type of show, but don't quote me. The point is, it was Broadway. I took the shot. No pay, didn't care. Broadway. This was Broadway. I did every illustration, poured myself into it, and handed them off to the woman I had reported to. And then nothing, nada, crickets, no paycheck, no thank you, no feedback, not even these are awful, do them over. Nothing, silence. And here's where the Thanksgiving comes in, because I had this one relative, and every single time I saw them, here it came. Did you ever get paid by that Broadway lady? You really shouldn't have done all those drawings for free. Did she at least write you a reference? And every time I'd explain it again, it was an exchange, I'd say, for the experience. And every time it made me want to like crawl out of my skin. But here is what that relative couldn't see. Taking that gig, that was the easy part. That was the fun part. The hard part was the silence that I got after and the people who kept score of my experience. That free job wasn't free. It taught me I could do the work when nobody clapped. No money, no thank yous, no proof, even if it mattered. And I showed up and delivered it anyway. So maybe that story, that experience was waiting and was meant for me to tell you today. That's the no risk, nobody's selling you a course on. Okay. The risk of staying. And I want to hand you the exact thing that's kept me in the game because I almost got it wrong. For years, I called myself a psychic medium. It was true, it was real, and it kept getting in my own way. People heard that label and half of them checked out before I got to the work. Even the people most closest to me, they handing me new titles. I was leading with this title instead of the truth. And my truth is, as I love this podcast. And the truth is, I love being able to do readings for people I love and I want to help. But it still wasn't the truth of me. So a few weeks ago, I did the thing I'm about to ask you to do. I didn't quit. I'm never going to ask you or preach to you to do something I can't do myself. I came at it from a new angle. I love doing this podcast. I dropped the title, I stopped the readings, and I got clear on what I want. I actually want and need to do for my own purpose, my soul, and seriously, for my sanity. You heard me right. I love producing this podcast. I help people read what their life is already showing them. And that's where my passion lands in my soul. It's the patterns, the signs, the evidence that's been sitting right in front of them the whole time. It's the same calling. It's just an upgrade. It's forcing them to step up in their own life, like I had to. That's the muscle I want you to build with me today, because quitting and starting over are not the same thing. When you want to quit, and you will, the move usually isn't out. It's sideways, and we'll get a whole new angle on the same dream. So here's where we're headed. We're going to look at the 3 rooms where this leap shows up for almost all of us. Visualize this. You're walking up a staircase and you reach a landing. You're standing there and you see in front of you 3 closed doors. You ready to see what's inside? Good. Let's go. The first is labeled your career. The second, your love life. And the third, your money. Stay here and we're going to come right back to it. All right. And then I'm going to give you the tools, a framework to stay there at the top of the stairs when every cell in your body is screaming fear and failure and wants to make a run for it. Now, the tools are my 5 MQ dimensions: clarity, intuition, evidence, belief, and action. And underneath all 5, there's a thread that holds the whole thing together like a perfect strand of pearls. It's faith. Not the certainty kind, the other kind, the kind that lets you move before you can see the whole staircase and before what's inside those rooms. And we'll get there. Okay, so where does this actually live for you? For almost all of us, the leap shows up in three rooms: career, love, and money. Your security, the floor under your feet. That's it. Choose your door. Let's walk through. Now, notice which one made your stomach drop when I said those words, because that's the one we're really here about. Room one is the career. It's about the pivot you keep almost making, the resignation letter you've written in your head 40 times, the business, the book, the thing you'd do if you weren't so, say, responsible. And the quiet fear underneath it isn't what if I fail? It's what if I go all in on the thing I dream about and find out I'm not actually that good at it? You know, I know that one personally too. And I hear you. I see a lot of faces that look like you just sucked on a lemon. I know it's hard. Room two is love. The risk, the first move you won't make, the conversation you keep swallowing, or the big one, the comfortable relationship that quietly died 18 years ago that you're still living in because at least it's warm and safe and there's a mutual love and respect. The reward is taking the leap. It's reaching for more. The staying, taking the risk, is reaching out again after somebody let go of your hand. Room three is money, security, betting on yourself with actual dollars, betting on yourself, buying the course, hiring the coach, using the savings you'd spend before you get to pay things back. This is the room where the responsible voice gets the loudest. It's the big risk of all. It's the one that sounds suspiciously like your father. Here's what's true in all three rooms. The leap is the easy part. Sending the email, saying the thing, swiping the card, that's the brave second. And you've got tons of brave seconds in you. The staying is where people quit. The flop, the silence, the dip. And here's the part that breaks my heart just a little. Most people quit right before it clicks, me included. They walk out of the room one failure too early. There is no easy button here. Staples lied. And you all know who I mean when I'm talking about Staples lied. You know, the ad, they sold us the easy button. Right. So I'm not going to hand you a pep talk and I'm not going to hand you an easy button. I'm going to hand you tools. And I've got 5 of them. These are the 5 I reach for when every cell in my body is telling me to go back to my old life. It's the 5MQ. It's clarity, intuition, evidence, belief, and action. And they're not for the leap, they're for the staying power. Okay, so you're going to hold on to that. Now, clarity, most fear is just a blur. So, what if it all falls apart? And falls apart how? Specifically, when you can't answer, you're not afraid of the risk. You're afraid of being stuck in a fog, stepping in muddy waters. Clarity is turning the lights on. Name the actual risk, the real number, the real worst case scenario, and name the actual reward in detail, like you could hold it in your hand. In your career, that's not just, I want something better. It's the exact thing. I want to open up my own catering business by the end of this year. In love, it's not, I want to meet someone nice. It's it's what you actually need to feel chosen. I need someone who values me. I want someone to share my life with, someone who values me as much as I value them. Now, with money, it's the real figure on paper instead of like a rough estimate. And here's what happens when you finally say the specific thing out loud: something clicks. You realize you already knew. You were just keeping it blurry, foggy, muddy. So you wouldn't have to do anything about it. Intuition. Your body knows before your brain finishes reading the thought. I read people for a living for 35 years. Here's what I learned: the gut is faster than the mind, and it lies a hell of a lot less. There's real science here. Dr. Michael Gershon calls it the second brain. Your heart throws off an electrical field so you can measure from your body. That's not woo woo, that's heart math. So when you're deciding whether a risk is yours to take, your body already knows. And what's the trick? How do you know? The telltale sign is telling you the difference between fear kicking in and intuition. Fear is loud, frantic, chaotic energy. Your stomach flips like you're going to puke. Intuition is quiet and blissful and truthful and steady. You feel aligned. It's a yes. It doesn't argue. It just knows it feels right. Evidence. This is my favorite because this is the whole game. When you want to quit, your mind tells you a story. This isn't working. It's a waste. It's never going to work. Who do you think you are trying to do all that? All the energy wasted on self sabotage, it makes you feel like it's the truth, right? But it's not. It's just a mood. So if you fight it with evidence, show me the facts, Jack. Get me the receipts. In life, you've survived 100 of your worst days. This next one means nothing. Just add it on. Every time you took a shot, a risk, spent the money before, the floor maybe held you? Did anything lose you? You grew a pair of wings on the way down, so it only hurt just a little when you hit the floor. But you get it. Look at the pattern here. The pattern isn't a penalty on you, it's information, and you're always, always further along than you think. Listen, I've been there, on the floor screaming, I'm done with all of this. The thing is to get up. The thing that gets me up isn't a feeling, it's evidence that I'm already not who I was a week ago, a month ago, 6 months ago, a year ago. You get what I'm saying here? You're so much better today than yesterday. You are always changing and always evolving. And every moment you spend finding your evidence makes you better and stronger than the minute before. You realize I'm activating my higher intelligence. Belief. Here's the one that sabotages you in the dark. The story you carry about whether you're even allowed to have an honest belief in yourself. You think, am I allowed to believe it can happen for me? Hell yeah, you can. You have to. You can have all the clarity, all the intuition, a mountain of evidence, and one quiet belief that whispers, people like you don't get this, will drag you right back to the version of you that stays safe. Now, Dr. Joe Dispenza puts it this way: you rehearse your future with your thoughts every day, whether you're aware of it or not. So if the rehearsal is, we've all said this, it won't work for me. Well, guess what? That's exactly what you're walking toward. You have to reframe that belief and believe you're allowed to try. That's the belief that keeps you in the room. Action. This is where it all gets real because action is just faith wearing high heels or work boots, whatever gets you out the door. Here's the mistake people make, they think the leap is one giant jump. So when they want to quit, they stare up at the whole staircase, panic, and sit down. Don't do that. When you want to bolt, you don't take the big, terrifying action. You take the next small one, even if it's just sending the email or write one honest sentence. Spend a few bucks on a coaching workshop. Do whatever it takes to stay pointed at that goal, that dream, whatever it is, fill in your blank. Do that instead of running away from it. Build on momentum because it beats cold start every time. The people who made it are almost never the most talented. Look, I'm not the greatest speaker, and God knows I have a funny accent. I'm not perfect, but like me and others like me, we're the ones who took one small step on the day we all wanted to quit. So look at these 5 dimensions, what they actually do. Clarity keeps you aimed at the target. Intuition keeps you honest. Evidence keeps you going. Belief keeps you worthy of it. Action keeps you moving forward. Not one of them is about a leap. Every single one is about staying in the plan, staying in the game. So here's the thing holding all 5 of those together. The one I saved for last on purpose. It's faith. And I need you to hear what I mean because that word's been hijacked. I'm not talking about blind faith, and I'm not talking about let go and let the universe handle it while you sit on your butt. That's not faith. That's a nap dreaming of leprechauns and 4-leaf clovers. Faith is this. You take the step before you can see the whole staircase. You don't get to see it. That's the deal. You get one stair, and sometimes you get something to hold on to. I'll give you a railing. And faith is moving one foot up the stair, trusting your other foot lands on the next. That's what faith does to the 5MQ. It's the strand of pearls connecting all 5. Clarity, intuition, evidence, belief, and action. That's your part. The work you can actually do. Faith is trusting when you do your part. Something meets you there. The leap becomes a hop. You come halfway. Because here's what I know after wanting to quit a few hundred times. Every single time I picked myself up off that floor, I did not have proof it would work. And some days I still don't. I had faith in one small action. That's it. And looking back now, the door I needed always opened. Just never one step earlier than I needed it to be. It never, ever came early enough to make me feel assured or comfortable, but it always arrived on time. That's manifestation, not wishing, not a vision board you stare at. It's you doing the work of the 5 dimensions with enough faith to keep going before the evidence shows up, and then watching the evidence show up because you kept going. The leap doesn't reward the certain. There's no such thing as certain. It rewards the ones who keep moving in the dark. So before you go, I want you to actually do something. Not someday, this week. Go back to the three rooms: career, love, and money, and be honest about which one made your stomach flip. You know the one. It dropped for a reason. That's not anxiety. That's the information. That's the room your life is pointing at. Here's your assignment. And it's smaller than you want it to be, because small is the point. One action this week in that room, not the leap, just the next stair. One email, $1, one honest sentence, someone who needs to hear it. Just move towards the dream instead of away from it. That's it. That's faith. Because your whole life is already speaking. It's been speaking to you the whole time. The pattern, the pull, the thing that won't leave you alone. That's not noise. That's the message. Your only job is to learn to read it and then take one small, brave step toward it. You already know. You've always known. As always, I got you. But you've got to do your part. Go for the next step. It's listed in the notes. Download my special gift waiting for you. Remember, it's no coincidence that you're here. Please subscribe. It supports me and it helps reach others who may need to hear this message and this episode right here and now. Thanks for the love. I really appreciate it. See you next time.